Don't be ashamed that you're manifesting someone to love you, whether you're manifesting a specific person or a brand new love. Own it. Hi there, I'm Adila, your expert in all things manifestation. If you're new here, I'm a manifestation coach helping you create your ideal lifestyle by telling your ideal story. My motto is if I can help at least one person, I have done my job. If you'd like for me to help you create your story that's tailored to your specific desires, head over to my website, thisisyourstory.co, where I offer email coaching and free ebooks to help get you started. I often feel that people are sometimes shamed about what they want, and it kind of makes them feel like, they shouldn't be asking for whatever they specifically want in terms of manifesting a specific person. And you have to know that um, people who don't study the law of assumption or a manifesting community in general don't really understand the levels of, if you're manifesting back a person who did something that you didn't like in the past, they automatically assume that you don't really love yourself because you're trying to get back with that person. This also goes for new love. I often see that if you are manifesting love, there's also this, and I'll talk about like a masculine person. There's this community of people that kind of shame you for like wanting to be like taken care of by a masculine person and be feminine, and like there's like this kind of like a debate or something around that, and I'm here to just talk about honoring what you truly want. Because if you think about it, you have the desire because you want it, not because of the rest of the world approving. But once you're convicted in knowing that that desire is yours and that person shows up, the whole rest of the world will just follow your lead in, wanting and loving that desire for you. But right now, this is for people who are like going through things now, and they're single and they want love, they can handle everything on their own, but they really want a person. Don't feel ashamed to want love. It's innate. It's like our natural normal desire to desire a partner. Some people don't want a partner, and that's perfectly fine, but I'm saying don't feel ashamed for wanting to be loved and held by someone and just, cared for. There's something special about that. I want you to release the shame around manifesting a specific person. And this is the reason why. One, you have an understanding that you are operating from one state of consciousness right now. And when you were either dealing with that other person, either in a relationship or talking to them or wanting more in that relationship, you were dealing with a a different, they were in a state of consciousness that you may not be currently creating right now. Right now, we are creating our ideal circumstances, our ideal states of consciousness, but they may have been operating from a state of consciousness that you didn't like, where they're not showing up for you, where they might be ignoring you, where they might be ghosting you, where they might be liking, other or showing interest in other people, like, just kind of in disrespectful ways and doing things that you really wouldn't desire in a loving, committed relationship. The thing to understand is that that's just a state that that person is in at that time. And you are consciously creating them to be in an ideal state where they are showing up for you now. They are being loving towards you. They would never, they have like tunnel vision for you. They never even think about looking at another person because they're in a relationship with you. They're doting on you, committed to you, trusting, and you have an honest relationship. When we create these ideal versions of our person that we used to be in relationship and they were showing up in unfavorable ways, they shift into that new state of consciousness, the one that you're creating. You're like creating this bubble for them to embody this ideal version of themselves, to show up for you. They'll automatically want to show up for you. So what people who don't study this information or the law of assumption don't understand is, you know, that person was only in a different state. And they're held in that different state of consciousness by how you still see them. If you have a memory that they were always a cheater and always a dog and always um had other girls or had other guys around, or weren't faithful to you, or were disrespectful to you. Like, all of that is just that one version. And there are tons of versions of that person. That's why you can see someone who they get with like right after you, and they'll have the most blissful relationship because that new person sees them in a different light. So I want you to remember that you can always manifest a different version of this person. They are only showing up in the same way if you are seeing them in the same way, if you are keeping them in that same state of consciousness, if you are saying that they always do X, Y, and Z, and it's not favorable to what you desire and what you want in your relationship, they will always show up that same way. So you have to continue to see them as, committed, loving, caring, and generous. Like, all of the things that you really want to experience in your relationship, you claim that that's true for that person for you now. And it's happening now. But if you are sharing that information sometimes with people in your circle that don't study how states of consciousness works, how the law of assumption works, they will really ride for you to just dump that person and move on and find someone else. But if you have assumptions about relationships where you see people in relationships as they all, like, if you trump all the men up or trump all the women up to these categories, then your next relationship you will likely experience the same thing because you're operating from a state where this type of person in relationship always does this. So even if you have like fresh eyes in the beginning, you have a new love and it feels so amazing, that old assumption will start to come to the forefront and you'll start to see these flaws in your new person. So I always try to teach people to change your own states of consciousness and change the states of consciousness of the person or the people who you are creating. You are recreating the personality traits and these experiences that you will have with your partner. And you can recreate any and everything. I've experienced it with my partner, I experienced it with my family, with my friends. It's just wild. It's like, you'll have somebody who you feel like is so stuck in their ways and they'll always be this way, but it's not true at all, because everything you can shift. You can create them to say certain things that they would never say, before. You can create them to do different things. You can create them to treat you a certain way. So not everybody understands that, and not everybody gets that. And I want you to stand firm in, if you want this person, you can have that person and they can treat you like a queen. They can treat you like a king. They're not, you can't, you can judge them based on their past, but it doesn't really serve you anyway, right? So create them to be like the most amazing person for you, and you can also create that you have always been that way. When you revise how your relationship has been, those things that are in the present, let's say you were cheated on, right? I've been cheated on before, and it's been like really hard to like even look at the person the same way because the memory just keeps flashing. So if that's your situation or something close to that, you want to revise that you've always had the best relationship ever, because the memories of that event will start to diminish. You won't remember um certain specifics of it, and it'll start to kind of disappear as if it never happened. In that event, it'll feel easier to forgive them. It'll feel easier to forgive yourself. But this video is more so for the people who have a desire and they're not honoring it based on, how other people would feel, or, people's responses to them, wanting that. And you have to remember that this is your life. Like everyone around you will automatically conform to what you desire once you're convicted in that. It automatically happens. So you don't have to like, there's a lot of information about like create boundaries and don't do this and that, and like stop engaging with certain people. That'll happen automatically. When you start shifting in consciousness, the people around you automatically shift. You'll notice that. But in the beginning, especially if you're like in and out of like wanting this desire or not, you have to just stick with what you want. And you can ask yourself, like, do I still want this? Or, do I still want to give this my all? But um honor what you truly want. Don't feel ashamed if you're manifesting back a person and they did you wrong. Know that that was just a state that they were in. Now, I'm not condoning like, abuse or anything like that. And I feel like I don't want this to seem like I'm condoning like you being walked all over, but I want you to understand that people are only operating from the states of consciousness that they are embodying at the time. So honor what you want. If you love this person, and or you want to create love with this person, or you see yourself with this person and that's the person for you, then you go for it and you stay convicted in that. And if only you are riding for you right now, it's totally okay. It doesn't matter, because everybody else will come together. Everybody else will ride for you when you ride for yourself. I honestly think this video is in response to me seeing a video of somebody manifesting their person back after like a few years. It said like in 2019 they told me that they weren't interested in me, and now we're married in 2024, right? And the person who was posting like their reaction to that video was talking so much crap about, people manifesting their SPs when they've done them wrong. And um what I see when looking at that video is she shifted her consciousness. She's shifted into a state where she is dominantly seeing herself as the chosen person, as the one who was married, as the one who gets treated well. So I just feel like some people just don't really get what that means, and don't feel ashamed. Not everybody's going to understand. Neville has a quote about sleep is the doorway to heaven. So, how do you experience marriage? A heavenly marriage? You sleep in the wish fulfilled. You sleep in the assumption that you are happily married now. People choose to do this in a number of different ways, but one way that I recommend is having that ideal story, and you take a mantra from that story and you are imagining and reading that story right before you fall asleep. This would mean that this is one of the last things that you do before you fall asleep. So you would likely be in your bed, or you would be near your bed, but everything that you've done for the day, or that you needed to do for the day, is done. That means that this is the last thing that you do before bed. You read this story, you would close your eyes and imagine that this is you now, and then you fall asleep. He emphasizes that this practice makes the most potent impression on your subconscious mind, which creates all of your reality. So, night after night, if you are assuming and imagining that you are this person now, that you are married now, you sleeping in that wish fulfilled now, then it'll happen for you. And you don't have to do anything to make it happen. A lot of people feel like they have to like change up their whole lifestyle and start going places where they think that this person will be, but the person will just appear in your day-to-day experience. Like the story that he mentioned for his student who had the neighbor help her manifest her husband. She had she was at work and the guy just came in. So it didn't describe her going out to like, meet people or anything like that. These people will just show up. And you see how simple the practice is? It's basically deciding what you want, claiming that it's true for you, and then repeatedly telling yourself that you're this person. You're seeing yourself from the point of view of being that person now. I'm married. I love that I'm married. Now that I am married, this is how my life has shifted. This is truly the only thing that we're doing. We're going back to that same story about being a happily married person, and you just go into that and feel how that feels. I think we sometimes make this harder than it needs to be because we feel like we should be doing more to get it. We feel like there's something else that we should be, you know, operating as. But think about it like, all of the people that you've met in your life. You didn't go out necessarily like searching for them. Like, think about friends. It's the same way that you meet your specific person or the person that you would marry. You're just out and about living your regular life. I met a lot of friends during school, high school, college, whatever, in random groups. And I couldn't have predicted that these people would be my friends for the rest of my life or that we would even become friends. It's the same process. You're just meeting people. You meet people day to day at a coffee shop or, when you're getting gas anywhere. So you don't have to like go out and be intentional about either presenting a certain way, like dressing up. Like I had a friend who used to say that you have to dress up to find that person. You don't, because that person will find you. They'll show up in such an unexpected way that, you weren't looking for them. The key is just returning to who you are as the person who has it now. Who are you? How has your life shifted? Think about that, imagine that, and that's it. It is done. If you like content like this, let me know by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.